Tim's workshop out here on the old 60 Merc. We had an issue. I was going to go ahead and winterize it for winter. Hit the Yama lube on it through the cylinders and through the carbs. But when I pumped up the squeeze ball with the hood off, I noticed the bottom carburetor was leaking fuel, which means there's a float jet issue, dirty carb basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze up the ball so I can show you it's leaking out the bottom carb. And if it's still leaking, we're going to go ahead and take it in the mini shed and take it apart and clean it. So I'll show you how to test a carb without having it on the motor, okay? So we'll do that too. Let's take the top off of this thing. Okay, to get to the carbs, I gotta take the silencer off. So I'll go get my big screwdriver for that. All right, let's take this thing off. It's got the information on here on how to adjust the roller and cam. It's kind of interesting. They put the little decals on there so you can have some reference. But my suggestion is, if you're going to work on these motors, make sure you get your service manual for the year and the model. Okay, so we got the silencer off. The silencer has three rubber gaskets on here. They just fit on there, so make sure they're not pinched or have fallen off. Okay, make sure they're on there. It's pretty oily. Check out the bottom carb here. See if it leaks. So what we're going to do here is we're going to hook up the fuel hose. Okay. Lift the, squeeze the ball. I smell gas. It's leaking out of this one though. See, it's leaking. And from what I saw, it was leaking out of the middle carb. See it dripping over here, right there. Now it's coming down the bottom here. So it made it look like the bottom carburetor was leaking, but it's actually this one here, the middle one. This one up here is not leaking. It's this one. So we're going to take all three off. We're going to go through them and make sure that they're all good. I think it's time to do that. And that way we make sure that they're not leaking. That way we could check each one of them individually by pumping it up, letting it sit. Yep, that's what we'll do. So in order to get these three carbs off, we've got to take these straps, these bolts off, disconnect the fuel lines, and pull all three carbs off at the same time. All together, actually, we could. Take the bolts out. We'll have to go through and do the link and sync again on these, since we're taking them all off. No biggie. We know how to do that now. Take that apart. I'm going to have to The little fuel enricher, I got to cut the tie strap off of that to get that loose, but that's no biggie. Get over on this side here, just actually churn this thing. Disconnect the fuel. Just disconnect the one going to the top carb. We'll leave the other fuel lines on. We'll just take all three carbs off at the same time. Okay. Okay, I just need to get my tie strap clippers. Well, let's cut this tie strap, and I think that's it. There we go. Fuel's coming out of it. Well, undo this last bolt here, and all the carbs. Oh, I got one more thing. Clean this over. One more thing, which is, oh, well, put that boot back on. The oil injection, I don't know if you can see it right there. See the thing that fits over the ball there? I just need to pop that loose. There we go. Now I should be able to take all these carbs out at the same time. And all the linkage is still hooked up. But that doesn't mean anything. We still have to take these apart and go through it. And we'll have to redo the link and sync all over again. But while I have these out, I'll stick a rag in the holes, on the intake holes, all three of these. I like to wash this thing out, use some of that super clean underneath there, and take the plug out on the drain pan here, and let all that stuff, the oil and everything, just drain out of there. Get it cleaned up. I haven't done that yet, ever. So it needs to be done. So, all right. Well, let's put this over in the workbench in the mini shed. Start working on the carbs in the comfort of my mini shed. Which, if it gets cold, I got heat. All right. Let's put it in there. Okay. So we're gonna work on these carburetors. This is the bottom. This is top. What we're going to do is we're going to mark these carburetors as I take them off, so which one's which. I know which ones are which. Obviously the enrichment one with the little 90-degree small elbow here, that's the top carburetor. The one in the middle doesn't have this, and it doesn't have this. So this one here is for the bottom carburetor, which hooks up oil injection rod that puts in the right amount of oil into the fuel mix. Based on I know which one's which, that's fine, but I'm going to show you how to mark them. If you use just a regular marker, you're going to lose the mark for one when you clean the carburetors. So what you want to do is etch in which one's which, and I'll show you how to do that. First off, we're going to take the fuel lines off. I put my fuel lines on with the stainless hose clamps. For the small one over here, I used a tie strap, but for the rest of them I don't. Let's take these off. I got a little tray here to put the parts in. Okay, so disconnect these. One thing I don't like about this is this bottom elbow is it's rusting pretty bad. They look like brass, but I don't believe they're brass because they're rusting. So I don't know what these things are made of, but they're not brass, that's for sure. Brass doesn't rust, as far as I know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Anyway. There's one. I'm going to do some editing on this. I'm going to be fast forwarding or cutting out certain things, you know. So this video doesn't take 4 hours to watch. A lot of you guys have already cleaned carburetors before, so it's not much new. But there's a lot of people that have never touched one of these before, so I want to get this on there for folks that are new. The rest of you can just fast forward through it if you want. And this rod, when you take these apart, you got to be careful with them. You don't want to break this plastic. So what you do is you get a better screwdriver. This one looks good. So you put this underneath there and pry up gently. Like that. That way you got some even amount of lift, so you don't end up breaking these things. Still good. So it doesn't matter on this. You can have it one way or the other, because when you do the link and sync, it doesn't really matter. Hopefully I explained that right. Okay, so now this one's loose. There we go. Put the hose clamp back on there. Okay. I guess we'll start with the top carburetor. So the top carburetor, I don't know if you could see that, but I wrote a T on it. So that's kind of handy. But in order to make sure after it's clean you still have the mark on there good, go ahead and put a T on it. Just like that. Okay, so let's start taking this thing apart. This is the Venturi area, the air fuel mixture cavity. There we go. gasket's still good. All the little holes, you gotta make sure all these are clean. So I have this wire here that's good for the larger holes, you know, to go through them. But for the smaller holes, I have the guitar string, which works really well. Some of these holes were kind of plugged up. Yeah, I could feel it. That would actually screw up your performance of your motor. So this is the vent hole. This is the, it's actually a jet. Let's see, what does it say on there? 060. So that's the air supply that's coming in here. And this is the jet fuel air mixture screw. What we can do on this, I set it for the basic 1 1/4 churn per the book. I do have the book with me, the Mercury service manual, okay, and it has all that information in there. 1 1/4 churns is the starting position on this, but you can adjust these in and out to make it leaner or richer, and it's always best to have it a little bit on the rich side. You don't want it too lean because you don't want to burn up your motor. Get back to cleaning here. Oh, let's take this bottom float cover off. Put a T on this too. There we go. Since I took the top off, the rest of the carburetor is still here, so I want to make sure we mark it so we know which one's which. Oh, that came right off. And there's another jet right there. Okay, so you want to make sure that one's clean too. So in order to get to it, you take the yeah, that's on there. Oh, okay, cool. That fit. So anyway, as you can see in there, you can see daylight coming through that jet. And I don't know what size jet that is. But we'll run a wire through there anyway. Let's see if I can see a number on it. Nope. I'm not going to pull it out. I just want to make sure it's clean. The float looks pretty level to me. Okay, looks like the needle's working up and down pretty good. Let's pull the pull the float off of there. There's a needle. Okay, pull the needle off of there. There we go. Float. Doesn't have any holes in it, so that's good. And a little rubber gasket here. Still good. I'll put it over there. Not much to these carburetors. That goes through this hole over here. These holes come out through through here, right in there. There's some more holes in there. Gasket's still good. All we need to do is hit all these little holes. Now we run a wire through them and make sure they're clean. The fluid comes through. That's about all you do, and then you just put it back together.